Now, Lucy and I find property completely absorbing.
Yes, but in order to do well, you must make sure you buy at the right price.
And one way you might be able to do that is to buy your next home under the hammer. Well, you do need to do your homework before you buy at auction, but once you're sure of what you want, you could bag yourself a bargain.
I wonder if any of today's properties turn out to be great deals. Here's what was bought. There are no complaints from me about the cleanliness of this house in Warrington, Cheshire.
Look, you can eat your dinner off of there.
Whereas in Workington, Cumbria, it's not food but drink that interests me. You got your own bar. Fantastic.
And having found the location of this property in Tunbridge Wells in Kent...
Now, all I have to do is try and find a way in.
All of these properties went to auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer. There you go.
I'm in Cheshire today, Warrington to be exact. It has a fabulous Grade 1 listed town hall, the famous River Mersey passes through it, and there are great transport links to Liverpool and Manchester. It's also home of the rugby league team, known as the Warrington Wolves, and I'm here to hunt down a property that was snapped up at auction.
And here it is. It's a 3-bedroom terrace property, and the guide, £55,000. And there's a house on this road that's on the market for just under £85,000. Money to be made, hopefully.
Initial signs are promising. Decent roof, double glazing, and a good position. It could do with a little tidy up, but that's fine. You don't want it perfect. You need to be able to add value.
The first thing that strikes me is the feeling of space. It's really big in here, but it's terribly dated. You've got polystyrene tiles, old-fashioned wallpaper. You may want to replace this with something a little more modern, but the good news is I can't smell damp. It's clean as a whistle in here. And look at the size of this kitchen. And again, look, you can eat your dinner off of there. It's a fabulous little house, but I would like to think about rearranging it, because I'd like to get a table in here so that you could sit down and eat. I'd probably want to move this doorway along, get rid of some of this, because then you can close the door and there's enough space in the corner for a family to sit down and enjoy their meal. So all in all, a fantastic little house for the guide price.
Yes, at what was a £55,000 guide price, this really could be a gem and potentially a nice project for someone. Upstairs, the 3 bedrooms really just need redecorating, recarpeting, and maybe a bit of plastering here and there. As for the bathroom, well, as far as I'm concerned, it should always be a white suite. Mind you, I'd like to see a bit more green outside.
So if you love the house, but you're a bit disappointed with the concrete paving slabs, don't be, because the other side of this fence is a pretty little green garden.
Though it's not a thrilling space, it's pretty low maintenance and it's always lovely to have somewhere just to sit outside and chill.
It was all so tranquil. That shattered the illusion, didn't it?
Oh no, not so great. Thank goodness the house has double glazing.
I'm afraid there's another fly in the ointment, and it comes in the form of a flying freehold. This alleyway is supposed to run to this property's garden and the neighbouring garden, but at the moment, well, it only runs to the neighbouring property. This means that this part of the house is in legal limbo, and worryingly, it can scare mortgage companies off. So I would definitely make sure my solicitor looked into this before going to the auction.
It's worth making some noise about this issue. It's not uncommon, but it can be a bit of a legal tangle. What does a local estate agent make of this property?
First impressions of the property are good. It's a reasonable-sized family home. Definitely needs some work, but it's a good, solid family home.
But what about the flying freehold and the full-size train set at the bottom of the garden?
The train line, it's not going to help, but it shouldn't hold up any sale. There is a flying freehold with the property. There's a ginnel that's shared with the next-door property. I mean, there does pose some slight drawbacks when you come to get finance, but I think that is something that you would factor in with the cost.
So with regard to prices, what kind of value could this achieve if fully refurbished and put on the rental or resale market?
Once this property's renovated, I'd look to put this property on the market around £80,000. If we were going to rent this property out once renovated, I'd expect to achieve around £550 per calendar month.
Some will be put off by the train track at the end of the garden, and others will view that flying freehold with suspicion. Someone wasn't deterred. Let's find out who that was as we go to auction.
3-bedroom, what's this one worth? Shall we start this one? Who's going to give me 50,000? That's too high for you. Start me off 40. £40,000 we're away. £40,000, do we see 42? At 42, 42,000, 44. At 44,000 then seated. 44,000, 46. At 46,000, 48. At 48,000. Bradley took 50. At £50,000 then at 50,000. Yes, that's your bid at 50,000. 52. At 52,000. 54. No, at 52,000, 53, 52 and a half. I'll do the same for you. 53, sir, 53, 53 and a half, 54. At 54, 54 and a half, at 54 and a half. Are we done? No, 54 and a half, 55. At 55,000, 55 and a half. You're shaking your head. At £55,000, it's the guide. At 55. 55 and a half, new bid. At 55 and a half, 56. 56 on the front. 56 and a half, may I say, sir? 56 and a half, then. 57. It's your choice. 57, 57 and a half. Shaking your head at 57,000, then for the first time. Second time, the third and final time at 57,000. There you go. Whew.
For 57,000, just £2,000 over the guide price, the 3-bedroom terrace in Warrington was bought by local man Mark. He's married with 3 young kids. After leaving his job as a cabin crew manager for an airline, he's now looking for a change in career, back on terra firma.
Straight back down, come back down, straight back down, y'all, straight back down to work.
Did you ever think you'd get this on auction day, Mark?
I didn't. I mean, I was so nervous. I've done an awful lot of things before, but going along to the auction, it was just like nothing else that I've ever experienced. It really wasn't. And I only actually viewed this property on the morning of the auction. So 11 o'clock in the morning, I was here having a look at it, and then 1 o'clock I was bidding on it.
Wow!
And it almost felt like it was fated, because when I went along to the auction, I had paddle number 18, and this was lot number 18. And I thought, as soon as that happened, it's got to happen, you know what I mean?
So when the hammer went down and it was yours, how did you feel?
I was elated, and I was a little bit nervous beforehand, because I thought I'm going to have to restrain myself, because as soon as it goes, and go third and final time, and it's yours, I was going to jump up and go, yes! Yes! Fantastic!
People have done that. People do that.
I managed to, you know, restrain myself, obviously.
Let's get excited. We just can't hide it. No. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
It's great that he's got it, but why was he so excited about buying this particular house?
We only live about 10 minutes away from here, so it's nice and easy and convenient for me to get to and to monitor and to keep an eye on. The actual house itself, you come in, it's looking tired, definitely, but it's got the cavity walls, it's got the double glazing, it's got the combi boiler. It just has everything about it. It needs a tidy up. The kitchen's looking really tired. The bathroom, very dated, will need replacing. But the basics are there, and that's what I thought.
What's your budget for the work?
In total, I'm looking at spending around about £6,000.
There might not be an enormous amount to do to this place, but £6,000 is still quite tight. I think it'll need a fair amount of input from Mark to keep that budget in check, and he hopes to get it all finished in just 6 to 8 weeks.
Have you ever done anything like this before? And are you handy?
I am quite a handy chap, to be honest, and in this house I'm looking at doing everything as much as I can, really, to be honest. So if it needs any plastering, I can do that. I'll certainly do all of the legwork and the painting, decorating. I can fit the kitchen, the bathroom. But no, it's not anything that I've done before on this type of level, really, to be perfectly honest. My background was, I used to work for an airline. That's what I did. I was a cabin crew manager for an airline.
Really? For how many years?
I did that for 12 years in total,
Wow.
so it was quite a long time. And then this year, I've got quite a big birthday coming up this year. And I'm
have you?
turning 40 this year.
40.
And I was just... And it felt time for me to do something different, really, to be honest.
So it's a big change of direction for Mark, but something he's obviously looking forward to. He plans to let the house, so for the moment, he's not overly concerned about the flying freehold or the trains. But he has a young family, so does need to make this venture work.
Well, what did the family think of this venture?
Well, my wife hasn't even seen inside the house, to be honest. It was me that went along and decided to buy it. And I sort of phoned her up while she was at work and I said, "You never guess what?" She said, "What?" "I've just bought a house."
So she didn't know anything about it?
She knew that I'd been looking at it and she knew that I was thinking about it, but when I actually went along and bought it, I think it came as a bit of a shock to her, to be honest. But it's been nice, because I've been so focused on my career and working long hours and everything for the last sort of 12 years or so, and it's been nice to be able to spend that little bit more time with the family. And the ideal thing about this is I can work on this during the day, maybe the odd weekend, but I'm still coming home every night to the family and to the kids. So, you know, it's ideal.
Well, good luck with this venture. I really hope it works out for you, and it's been great meeting you today.
Thank you. It's really nice meeting you. Thank you.
Ex-cabin crew manager Mark purchased a property with a flying freehold. What are the chances of that? Now, I hope he manages to resolve that issue, and I also hope he successfully renovates this house. Will that modest budget see this house take off, or will it be a series of delays and cancellations? You can find out how he gets on later in the programme.
Being quicker. But first, we return to Warrington to find out how Mark is getting on with his new venture.
I have loved every single second of it. I would do it again.
Back in the Cheshire town of Warrington, we came across a 3-bed terrace property which was just starting to show its age. It needed a thorough update and refurbishment, but seemed fundamentally sound. So for first-time developer and local man Mark, it appeared an excellent place to get his fledgling property career off the ground.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
No, it's not anything that I've done before on this type of level, really. I used to work for an airline. That's what I did. I was a cabin crew manager for an airline.
Really? For how many years?
I did that for 12 years in total. And it felt time for me to do something different, really, to be honest.
But this change of direction didn't come cheap, as Mark paid $57,000 for the house. He was hoping to find a new career path, but also had a family to support meanwhile, so couldn't afford for this to go wrong. This property came with some potential pitfalls, a train line at the end of the garden and an area of flying freehold, all of which could potentially affect the end value. With a budget of £6,000 set aside, he hoped to turn it around as soon as possible. Just 7 weeks have flown by, and we're back with Mark and his 6-year-old daughter Ellie to catch up on progress. And the outside? Well, it's been given a lick of paint and the door has gone from white to black. But it's inside where the refurbishment has really taken off. In the front reception room, there's now laminate flooring, those polystyrene tiles have now gone, and the ceiling's been replastered. And there's a modern gas fireplace. And that old kitchen, well, that's now a thing of the past.
Well, in this particular room, obviously, I think it's changed an absolutely massive amount. The kitchen units have all been replaced. We've put new flooring down. All of the walls have been painted. The ceiling has been skimmed and repainted as well. The kitchen I bought off an internet auction site, so it came second-hand. And it came with all of the units and the hob and everything else. It's got a built-in dishwasher. So I think it's come out really well.
Not only has Mark improved the kitchen, but he did it with his property developer's hat on and kept the costs down. Upstairs, the 3 bedrooms are also finished and ready for a tenant who's moving in just a couple of days' time. However, work on the main bedroom wasn't trouble-free.
Well, this room and the upstairs probably caused me the most problems of all, really, to be perfectly honest. We started knocking out for the electrical socket boxes and the entire wall fell down. So we ended up replacing and rebuilding the entire wall.
So things got rather messier than he'd hoped, but with a full refurbishment of the bathroom, apart from some small snagging jobs, the house is just about ready to go. Mark did use professional tradesmen where required, but even so, to get to this stage in just 6 weeks is some going.
I've done virtually all of the work myself with help from friends and family, really, to be honest. My dad has come up from South Wales. He's helped me a few times. My wife has painted virtually all of upstairs. Even my young daughter, Ellie, she's been stripping wallpaper off and painting walls.
Ah, yes, 6-year-old Ellie. How did she find the refurbishment work? Any top tips?
I've been stripping wallpaper by getting this tool, it's sharp, and put it where I could and then lift it up like that, and then quite a lot comes off and then peel it.
That definitely sounds like a top tip to me, but what's been the bestest bit?
The best thing is how good it's turned out to look now.
So does that mean she's keen to follow Dad along his new career path?
I like to have quite a quiet job, like an author. That's what I want to be.
In this house, things could get a bit noisy with those trains running past. So perhaps it's not quite the right career for her at present. But for Dad Mark to become a big noise in the property world, it's vital to keep expenditure under control.
Was initially £6,000. I've gone a little bit over that, and I think that was mainly due to the extra plastering and the full electrical rewire. So in total, it's been about £6,500 now.
That pretty impressive £6,500 spend on top of Mark's £57,000 purchase price for the house would take his total outlay to around £63,500. So has his first property development got off to a flying start? What do 2 local estate agents think?
First impressions are that there's got 3 good-sized bedrooms. Downstairs accommodation is particularly light. It's been finished with good standard throughout. I think it's a property that will be of interest to a lot of people.
Property is in good condition. There's still some finishing off works to complete, but overall there's new flooring coverings, all the walls are smooth. The kitchen's had some improvements in there as well, so generally a result.
This property was always meant for the rental market, and Mark's already got a tenant confirmed. But what sort of rental income should he get?
Sensible rentable value for a property such as this style would be somewhere between £525 per calendar month and £575 per calendar month.
This property would bring around £500 to £525 per calendar month.
I mean, I have already got a tenant lined up, and the tenant moves in 2 days. I've rented it for £500 a month, so I'm delighted by that, absolutely delighted.
Well, that's fantastic. A 6-week turnaround, and he's already let it for £500 a month, representing a yield of around 9.5%. But has he also added value to his £63,500 investment?
Then I would suggest a sale price of between £80,000 and £85,000.
We would expect it to be worth in the region of £80,000 to £85,000.
That is fantastic. That is really amazing. It's been a big gamble, and that's what, there's potential £21,500. Ka-ching, fantastic.
Even after tax and fees, there's still potentially a decent profit here. But most importantly for Mark, it shows him that he's on the right track and could have a future as a property developer.
I have loved every single second of it. I would do it again. So if at all possible, if I can find the finance, then I'm going to be going back to the auction hopefully next week and see if I can pick up anything else.
That might mean daughter Ellie will have to put that writing career on hold a little longer, pick up that wallpaper stripper instead, so the family can continue working together.
It was all